Jayorat Amatava Kunjabihari Jayorat Amadava Kunjabihari Kopitana Balaba Girivanadari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Randana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Randana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jayaratha Madhava Kunjabihari Kopitana Balaba Girivanadari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Randana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jayoratha Matava Kunjabihari Kapitana Balaba Girivanadari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Randana Jamuna Tira Banachari Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavari Paschadya Desatarine Hare Krishna. Today we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 10, Canto 10, chapter 52, verse 15 and 16. We're not reading verse 12. We had 12 before, 15 and 16. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat Nashta Prayeshva Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. Canto 10, chapter 52, verse 15. Anartadipatihi Shriman Raivato Raivating Sutam Brahmana Chodita Pradat Palayeti Puroditam Anatadipati Shriman Anartadipati Shriman Anartadipati Shriman Raivato Raivating Sutam Raivato Raivating Sutam Raivato Raivatim Sutam Brahmana Chodita Pradat Brahmana Chodita Pradat Brahmana Chodita Pradat Palayeti Puroditam Palayeti Puroditam Palayeti Puroditam Anartadipati Shriman Raivato Raivating Sutam Brahmana Chodita Pradat Palayeti Puroditam Anatadipati Shriman Raivato Raivating Sutam Brahmana Chodita Pradat Palayeti Puroditam. Next, please. Anartadipati Shriman Raivato Raivatim Sutam Brahmana Chodita Pradat Palayeti Puroditam. Anatadipati Shriman Raivato Raivatim Sutam Brahmana Chodita Pradat Palayeti Puroditam Anatadipati Shriman Raivatim Sutam Namdam Vaidam Adaigai Puroditam. Anarta of the Anarta province. Adipati, the overlord. Shriman, opulent. Raivataha, Raivata. Raivatim, named Raivati. Sutam, his daughter. Brahmana, by Lord Brahma. Choditaha, ordered. Pradat, gave. Balaya, to Balarama. Iti, thus. Pura, previously. Uditam, mentioned. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. As ordered by Lord Brahma, Raivata, the opulent ruler of Anata, gave Lord Balaram his daughter Raivati in marriage. This has already been discussed. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The topic by the followers of Srila Prabhupada. The topic of Lord Krishna's marriage to Rukmini will now be discussed. By way of introduction, a brief mention is made of his brother Baladeva's marriage. This marriage was alluded to in the 9th canto of the Bhagavatam, 3rd chapter, text 33 through 36. So that was 15. Now we also have 16. It's 16 and 17 joined. So I recite the Sanskrit and then read the translation and purport. Bhagavan api govinda upaye me kurutvaha Vaidarbim bhishmaka sutam shriyo matram svayam dvare Pramatya tarasarakya salvatings chaitya pakshagan Pashyatam sarvalokanam tarksya putra sudam iva. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O hero among the Kurus, the Supreme Lord himself, Govinda, married Bhishmaka's daughter Vaidarbi, who was a direct expansion of the goddess of fortune. The Lord did this by her desire, and in the process he beat down Shalva and other kings who took Shishupala's side. Indeed, as everyone watched, Sri Krishna took Rukmini just as Garuda boldly stole nectar from the demigods. Purport. Srila Jiva Goswami gives the following profound comments on these two verses. The words Shriyo Matram indicate that beautiful Rukmini is a direct expansion of the eternal goddess of fortune. Therefore, she is worthy to be the bride of the personality of Godhead. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Shriya Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha. In the spiritual world, all the female lovers are goddesses of fortune, and the male lover is the Supreme Personality. Thus, Srila Jiva Goswami explains, Srimati Rukmini Devi is a plenary portion of Srimati Radharani. The Kartika Mahatmya section of the Padma Purana states, Kaishore Gopa Kanyasta Yauvane Raja Kanyakaha. In childhood, Sri Krishna enjoyed with the daughters of cowherd men, and in his adolescence he enjoyed with the daughters of kings. Similarly, in the Skanda Purana we find this statement, Rukmini Dva Ravatyam tu Rata Vrindavane Vane. Rukmini is in Dwarka what Radha is in the forest of Vrindavana. The term Svayamvare here means by one's own choice. Although the word often refers to a formal Vedic ceremony in which an aristocratic girl may select her own husband, here it indicates the informal and indeed unprecedented event surrounding Krishna's marriage to Rukmini. In fact, Sri Krishna and Srimati Rukmini choose each other because of their eternal transcendental love. Krishna. So, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Putale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Somyavadi Pasadyadi Satarine. So in these two verses, there is mention of Balaram getting married to Revati, to his wife Revati, and then also of Krishna getting married to Rukmini. She is here called Vaidarbi, the daughter of Bhishmaka. So first marriage, Balaram. From in the purport we read this marriage was alluded to in the 9th canto of the Bhagavatam, 3rd chapter, texts 33 through 36. I will reiterate this. I looked this up in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, how this came about. There's a table of ancestry here in this 3rd canto, how one king had different sons and how the generations of saintly kings manifested in this world, as in many places in Bhagavatam, there's this lineage of saintly kings. So I read these verses. It actually starts with 27 in order to understand the context. That's 9th canto, chapter 3, verse 27. King Sharyati begot 3 sons named Uttanabharhi, Anartha, and Burishena. From Anartha came a son named Revata. King Revata, R-E. Text 28. O Maharaj Parikshit, subduer of enemies, this Revata constructed a kingdom known as Kushastali in the depths of the ocean. There he lived and ruled such tracts of land as Anartha, etc. He had 100 very nice sons, of whom the eldest was Kakudmi. Kakudmi is here called Raivata. Raivata means the son of Revata. Text 29, taking his own daughter Revati, Kakudmi went to Lord Brahma in Brahmaloka, which is transcendental to the 3 modes of material nature, and inquired about a husband for her. Text 30. When Kakudmi or Raivata arrived there, Lord Brahma was engaged in hearing musical performances by the Gandharvas and had not a moment to talk with them. Therefore Kakudmi or Raivata waited, and at the end of the musical performances he offered his obeisances to Lord Brahma and thus submitted his long-standing desire. Text 31. After hearing his words, Lord Brahma, who is most powerful, laughed loudly and said to Kakudmi, O king, all those whom you may have decided within the core of your heart to accept as your son-in-law have passed away in the course of time. Brahma continued, 27 Chatur Yugas have already passed. Those upon whom you may have decided are now gone, and so are their sons, grandsons, sons, and other descendants. You cannot even hear about their names. Text 33. O king, leave here and offer your daughter to Lord Baladev, who is still present. He is most powerful. Indeed, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose plenary portion is Lord Vishnu. Your daughter is fit to be given to him in charity. Text 34. Lord Baladeva is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who hears and chants about him is purified. Because he is always the well-wisher of all living entities, he has descended with all his paraphernalia to purify the entire world and lessen its burden. Text 35. Having received this order from Lord Brahma, Kakudmi offered obeisances unto him and returned to his own residence. He then saw that his residence was vacant, having been abandoned by his brothers and other relatives who were living in all directions because of fear of such higher living beings as the yakshas. Text 36. Thereafter, the king gave his most beautiful daughter in charity to the supremely powerful Baladeva, and then retired from worldly life and went to Badarik Ashrama to please Narayan. So that is that excerpt from the 9th canto, chapter 3, about Lord Balaram's marriage. So one thing here is, it is mentioned that Lord Balaram is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is also the origin of Lord Vishnu. And one who hears and chants about Lord Balaram is purified. He is always the well-wisher of all living entities. And he has come with all his paraphernalia to purify the world and lessen its burdens. Some very interesting statements about Lord Balaram. Also it is explained here that Balaram is the origin of Vishnu. Lord Balaram is Krishna's first expansion. And all other expansion, Vishnu Tattva expands from Lord Balaram actually. So he maintains the spiritual world, the Vaikuntha world, and also he then comes as Mahavishnu, and so the entire material world is created by Lord Balaram, and he's just as powerful as Krishna. So before coming to the topic of Rumini's marriage to Krishna, Shukadeva Goswami shortly alludes to the marriage of Balaram, who is Krishna's elder brother, because being the elder brother, he should be the first to be mentioned. Actually, it is expected that the elder brother is the first one to get married, and then comes the other. That's normal. But it doesn't always happen like this. And especially we know Krishna had many wives, and so this is going to be about Rukmini, we're going to hear. So this interesting story, that there was one King Revata who founded a kingdom under the water. By the way, it is then explained that this was the previous Dwarka. This later became Kutastali, later became known as Dwarka, a kingdom under the water. This happened in many millions of years ago. And because it's mentioned that the size of these people was much taller. Revati was much taller. She was from Satya Yuga. So this happened in Satya Yuga. And also, at that time, interplanetary travel was possible. So this Raivata, son of Revata, he also called Kakutmi, he looked for a suitable husband for his daughter. It's the first duty in Vedic times for the father to get his daughter married at young age. Srila Prabhupada is explaining about his own youth, about his own family, that he had a sister, and she was 12, and his father hadn't found a suitable partner yet for Srila Prabhupada's sister. We later called her Pishima, Srila Prabhupada's sister, and then finally he found a partner, a husband. She was married to that husband. Pishima, anybody knows Pishima? Have you heard of Pishima? Srila Prabhupada's sister. Prabhupada had a very loving relationship to his sister, and he said she was also a pure devotee. She was initiated by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and she always loved to cook for Srila Prabhupada. Regardless of Prabhupada's health, she always made Prabhupada's favorite dishes, kachoris, and regardless of Prabhupada's health, she would always sumptuously feed him. Whenever she thought that Prabhupada could be hungry, she came with a feast and offered him prasadam. So there were also then sometimes Prabhupada would rebuke her that she shouldn't cook like this, and that he was sick, and that she was sometimes not behaving properly, like brothers and sisters do. But she was very much inclined to the devotees. I remember seeing Pishima in Mayapur in 1975. She could only spoke Bengali, and she was very short. And she was an elder Bengali lady, but she just to be around her was so nice, because you felt she was concerned about Srila Prabhupada's disciples. We had come from Germany. It was my first trip to India at that time in 1975. So she was very proud that all these foreigners had become disciples of her brother, Srila Prabhupada, and had a very aunt-like attitude. That's why she was called Pishima, auntie. Any of you is Bengali? Pishima means aunt in Bengali, obviously, we were told. So that was very nice to have. So Gormohan, they got her married. And, well, there are more things to say about Pishima's marriage, but anyway, he got her married, and that was a success. First duty of the father is to get his daughter married. Now, in the traditional times, girls were married very early. Even Prabhupada was married when his wife was only a teenager. She was only a teen. She was 12 or something, very, very small. They were married, and she had her first child when she was 15. This was but this was a custom in Bengal of those days. Prabhupada was about 21. He had just finished college, and this was an arranged marriage. And later is also reported that Prabhupada said he didn't like this little girl so much. He would had to have a second wife. It's also reported. But his father, Gormohan, said, no, it's good that you don't like your wife so much that you aren't so much attached to your wife. Then you will take shelter more of Krishna. So stay with her, and Prabhupada followed that instruction. Of course, that marriage later, also this little girl, she grew up, they had 5 children together, but she didn't participate in Srila Prabhupada's preaching mission. So that's why Prabhupada left that marriage when he was in his 50s. He went to Jagannath Puri, left that family when he was in his 50s. So yeah, some other things that Prabhupada said about his marriage, that he saw this little girl, she was so shy, in the beginning she was so shy, and when he wanted to hold his hand, she was too shy to give him his hand. So this was the traditional marriages in India. They were arranged, and in former times, beginning of the 20th century, even in traditional times, the girls were married very young. Now that has changed. Even Indian ladies that we know, they get married when they are mid-20s or so, because their ideal is to finish some type of education. And as far as I have observed, of course, some of you who are from India may know better, but as far as I have observed, also in India, the marriage are later. Actually, all the marriages of Hindus, our friends that I have seen, they are at the time when both partners are way over 20. Some even wait longer, because for both Indian men and women, The ideal is, actually it's borrowed from the West, first finish an education, then get married. This is the Western standard. But still, as far as I have observed, most Indian marriages are still arranged by the parents. We have, in Hamburg, we also have an Indian congregation, and we have observed Indian students, they go to Hamburg to the technological college to study technology there. And they are so fixed on their studies. They are such good students because they don't go to parties, they don't go, they only study, very determined, and they don't date girls usually either. And we have had a few times now young Indian students. Even my wife sometimes thought that one particular person he should get married, so she tried to arrange something. And that young man, he called his parents and asked whether it was time for him to get married. The parents said, no, son, it's not time yet. First, you have to finish your studies, and we will arrange. So then, actually, the parents, after the student, that young man had finished studies, the parents said, okay, we found a wife for you. And he went to India, and he got to see his wife about 3 days before the wedding. And the wedding was arranged. Then again, he came back to Germany, and he had to wait for half a year because his wife first had to learn German. There's a precondition to be able to come to Germany, and then she came. And then we were, to us as Westerners, of course, we were not used to this, but we have seen it a few more times now. Now we know. Yeah, then they got a child, and they're still happy living together because these happily living together because these arranged marriages, they are done very carefully. They have done, a lot of research is done if they would be compatible partners. There is detailed talks with the future parents-in-law, whether the young people would be suitable in character, whether they have the same social background, same environment, same type of education maybe, or same, if the families go together well, like this, And then also horoscopes are done, Jyotish horoscopes, very scientific horoscopes. They're still very good astrologers in India. They can make these compatibility charts. They compare the character of the husband and the wife, and they can exactly figure out if they are suitable, if they will have the same destiny, especially will they live together in the same place. Because it could be, for example, that persons are actually suitable by character, but due to destiny, they live in all different places. Then won't be good marriage then. So like this. So it's done very scientifically. And the marriages that we have observed, they're in cultured Indian families. They just last, they just stay married. This is the idea of Vedic marriage, that you marry the first love of your life. First love, you marry your first sweetheart. And this marriage, this relationship starts in a traditional Vedic marriage, only starts at the time of the wedding. This is why in Indian marriages you see both husband and wife, both partners, coming to the wedding with their faces veiled. So the bride especially has a veil. Also in many marriages, the husband has a veil. And the veil is first lifted at the time of the wedding. So at the time of the wedding, they get to see each other for the first time in their life. And because it is all compatible and every families are supporting it, they will surely fall in love. In Vedic marriage, what we call love or attraction is not the most important thing. It's explained in Bhagavad Gita that by contemplating the objects of the senses, attachment will develop. And then attachment, and then it goes on like this. So that will automatically be there, especially between man and woman. Automatically they spend some time together, and just by seeing each other, they will develop attachment, if there is compatibility. So this will happen automatically. Even in the animal kingdom also, the males and females are automatically attracted to it by their nature. You know, male and female nature are like that they want to unite for procreation. This is nature's law. So therefore, in Indian marriage, this love thing is not the most important thing. Most important thing is the compatibility, and if it is can be calculated that they will cooperatively work together and especially serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. That their mutual attraction will not be an obstacle to serving Krishna. So this service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or let's say if they are not Krishna devotees, to society in the Varnashram Dharma system, that is seen as supreme, that they perform their duty according to their nature, and they help each other, support each other in performing their duties and in serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the main thing. Everything else, children, that will all come automatically. But it is also during the sacrifice, during the Vivaha Yakya or the Vedic marriage sacrifice, also it is expressed that there should be children. Children must be there, and for that, of course, there are also rules to have good children. There's a Garbhadan Sanskara, Srila Prabhupada many times mentioned, that one should not mate like the cats and dogs. There's a science, even for having good children. Sanskara it's combined with sanskara. It's described at which place the union should take place, and there are rituals, purificatory rituals before the union, and then even during the pregnancy there are further rituals, sanskaras, and then at birth there is a namkarana, after birth when the name is given, and then what is it? The grain giving, what is it called? First grains are giving. When first grains are given, what is that called? That ceremony. So it is all accompanied by different sanskaras or rituals. And in this way, it is guaranteed that there is a good population. In Bhagavad Gita, first chapter already, Krishna mentions Varna Shankara. Varna Shankara. Varna Shankara means mixed marriages. This is interesting, the term mixed marriage. Mixed marriage means, or the result of mixed marriage, pratiloma marriage. Mixed marriage means people from different varnas get married. And that's not good, according to Vedic. They should be from the same varna, from the same background. So if it's mixed background, if one person comes from the Sudra varna and the other person comes from Brahmana varna, that is not a good combination, according to Vedic calculation. They should both come from the same Anuloma and Pratiloma should come from the same background. So in Bhagavad Gita, first chapter explains that when the husbands are missing, when they're all killed in the battle, this was Arjuna's argument, that when the husbands, when the men get killed in battle, especially here in the battle of Kurukshetra, then they will be missing as fathers in the family. And then the women will all be unprotected, and they will be exploited by unscrupulous men if they are unprotected. So this is the danger in today's society. It's the danger. It doesn't always happen. But that women, especially daughters, are not properly protected, there is the risk that they will be exploited by unscrupulous men. This happens a lot. This does happen a lot. And that is the reason why many young people today don't want to get married anymore, and also for contraception. It happened in the past that women were exploited by unscrupulous men, so now they take contraceptive methods. Because if they're exploited by unscrupulous men, then Bhagavad Gita explains if nature is given its way, there will be what is called Varna Shankara. Varna Shankara, we explained the term, the original meaning of the term, or unwanted population. Unwanted population. Children that are begotten of lust only, with no higher purpose. It is even today's ideal in marriage is, do they really love each other? Isn't it? Do they love? In other words, Bhagavad Gita, love is actually different types of love, but especially this love of God. What is called love today in Bhagavad Gita calls it lust. Lust. Attraction. For the body, but also for the mind. Lust. I love that person. She's so, she gives me so much pleasure. It's so fine. Then we're having such a good time. Actually, then when everybody says, yes, they really love each other, then get them married. But this love, due to the mind by nature, it experiences both attraction as also aversion. The same person that you felt attracted to for some time, to that same person you may feel a type of aversion. It happens. Every long-standing, we know, even in the West, we know marriages are actually meant to be long-lasting. At least a few years they should last. But if you've been together with the same person, even in a marriage, also there'll be times where you feel more aversion than attraction. It happens. But if even in Western marriage, if one is true to his marriage vow, then one will be able to overcome such periods. If there has been a marriage, we just witnessed one marriage of one niece, we were saying, and it was actually a very nice ceremony. First day was in the church, and the priest explained in detail what is the meaning of marriage, and very nicely. Then they made their vows. They would always serve each other and help each other, like in our Vedic marriage. It's very nicely done. Then the second day there was the public marriage. There was the officer from the, marriage office. The person came in the presence of the entire family, both families, and in the presence also of all their friends. The officer was explaining talked about 20 minutes, what is the meaning of marriage. Actually, one can learn a lot from that. especially the social importance of marriage. Then he also explained, don't just only see yourself, see the society surrounding your obligation to society. Nicely done. And then there was a festivity, which mostly is dancing. They play loud music and dance wildly. I'm always so amazed. Everybody dresses up, it's a Western wedding, dresses up in suit and tie and, shirt, and really they put on their best dresses, and then they dance wildly, I mean, they could do that like they do in discotheques. And some people get drunk. This always has to be, I don't like that part of a marriage so much. They play silly music, they do silly, even more silly games, Actually, during that wedding, they did some kind of kirtan dance that I had known. Like, touching each other's shoulders and running in circles, making a snake. Or this polonaise, the polonaise? They were doing this. I thought maybe our kirtan that we know was influenced by American dancing style or something could be. I mean, in kirtan there are no hard and fast rules to chanting Hare Krishna, so you can dance any way you like if you have it accompanied by chanting Hare Krishna. So I thought this is some type of kirtan, but the music was extremely silly, I must say. Anyway, at least then, if there is marriage and there has been this type of get-together, both families know, and they will now stay together, and the friends know they will now stay together. Then there's an obligation. Then when they split up, everybody will be sorry. So it is, even this Western marriage is good, but it's then during the marriage also doing what we could see that both partners were expressing their appreciation and love for each other. Now this may change. Appreciation and love for each other may change. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he said there are 4 stages in a marriage. He said the first stage is that of allurement or illusion, when you are enamored by each other. That's only the first stage. So at that time, definitely there's a lot of appreciation or love. This is the best woman of the world, this is the best man of the world, we are together. So this will last for a few years, but the second stage is sure to come. And the second stage is disillusionment. Disillusioning. What do you say? What's the word? Disillusion. So that person is not as good as I thought. She is not the best woman in the world. He is not the best man in the world. I detected a few flaws in his or her character. She's just, after all, a normal person. Why did I get married to only this person? Maybe it was a mistake. This period will surely come. And then, after that, okay, still, you go on. Okay, we've made the marriage vows. There are a few kids. In the meantime, you have your common house or apartment. You may have some car. More things you have together, do together, the better. Okay, we go through it, forget about, everybody now fixes on a service. Service to Krishna, especially in the case of devotees, just chant Hare Krishna. This is all temporary. You do go through such stages. Maybe I should take some time off also, go hiking for some time, like this, travel to Vrindavan, even alone, leave the family there, but surely come back. And then, after some time, you put up with it. The stage of tolerance comes. Okay, both of us are not perfect. Both of us have our flaws. And maybe I deserve that partner. I don't deserve anybody like this. So let's just try, do something together the best we can. That's you tolerate. And then, after many, many years of tolerating each other and cooperating together and just doing as best as one can, then only comes the last stage, which is called love, real love, priti, love. Love that. Well, we have been together for so long. She must be loving me, and I must be loving her. And that's at the end. The best thing comes at the end. Yeah. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained these 4 stages. And surely what sustains such a marriage, that is dharma. It is not this love, this may change, but what sustains such a marriage, that is called dharma. Dri means, the Sanskrit root, dru, actually, the R is a vowel, I just learned, it's not a consonant. Dr, D-H-R, means that which sustains. That which sustains. So that which sustains a marriage is also dharma, that which supports it. Serving together. This is what Sri Dayananda Maharaj explained when my wife and me got married, that marriage life means to perform one's duty, to perform one's dharma. Everything else will automatically be there. But people sometimes think, oh no, most important thing is that we love each other. No, more important than that is that you perform your obligation to society and to Krishna, to God. And there are different duties that grihasthas have to do. One of the things is the grihastha ashram is where the varnashrama dharma manifests. When one is a brahmachari or vanaprastha or sannyasi, the varna doesn't matter. But in the grihastha ashram, the varna matters because by executing one's duty according to one's varna, one will earn one's livelihood. The Sudras earn their livelihood by accepting service, by getting paid, getting salary. The Vaishyas, they earn their livelihood by doing business, by their gains in business, they make their livelihood. The Kshatriyas by collecting taxes, and the Brahmanas by getting donations for their advisory activity, counseling activity. So as a grihastha, that manifests. That's why the grihasthas, they are the ones that maintain the society. They run the society. It's run by the grihasthas. They do the work, they earn the money. Everything happens through the grihasthas. And all the other varnas, the brahmacharis and the vanaprasthas and the sannyasis, they live on donations from the grihasthas. The temple run because the grihasthas are giving donations. So all the entire by the grihasthas. Of course, majority of people are grihasthas from age, ideally from age 25. Prabhupada said after 50, one should already retire. So nowadays people work longer for different reasons, but what should not work until the end of life. Like I've heard here in this country, some people, they work until the end of life, but it's not good. There should be time at the end of life for renunciation from the grihastha ashram. Because in the grihastha ashram, one has, since one is working, one has to do, one has children, so one has all these contacts with the material energy. And one has to dedicate them, of course. Rupa Goswami says, Anashaktasya visayan yataham upayam jata. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagyam Uchyate. He says, being not attached to anything and doing everything favorable for Krishna's sake, not for one's own sake. This means Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya means Vairagya means detachment. Yukta means connected detachment. So one should connect everything to Krishna, not be personally attached to anything, but engage everything in Krishna's service. And the next verse goes in the translation, Rupa Goswami explains, if there are things that could be connected to Krishna, but that are not connected to Krishna, then that is incomplete renunciation. So yukta vairagya, connecting everything to Krishna. But that may sometimes be not so easy. Grihastha has to do many things that, well, you take the good with the bad, that happens. You maintain the family, there's no duty, Krishna explains, without a fault. So when one works, one also has to deal with the faults that go along with the work one does. Undesired things happen. It's not so easy. And then especially all this association while working out inside in society, the association with non-devotees you have. I mean, you do live together and you do work together with non-devotees. Whether you associate with them or not is a different subject matter. But one has to deal with that. And one has to be friend of everybody. It's described in Bhagavad Gita 12th chapter that a devotee is the friend of everyone. But that, that can also, there are always these, this type of allurements, you make friends with somebody, you become close friend, and it's not surrounded by material elements and influences. And then vanaprastha, at that time, one should fix more on devotional service again, like in the brahmachari stage. You fix more on the service to the spiritual master. Especially vanaprastha, one should go on pilgrimage, like see different temples, like we are doing now, see different temples whenever we can. We go see different temples. Maybe we should do that more often. And especially study scripture, teach if one can, do service to Krishna. That is vanaprastha stage when the children are grown up. And then some will also take sannyas. Some will take sannyas, but not everybody. So anyway, at the end of life, one should be detached, not attached. Even in the family, of course, grihastha, there are two types of retired grihasthas. One is the grandpa, and grandma, and the other is the vanaprastha. So, one is a grandfather. They're still grihasthas. If one is a grandfather or grandmother, that is still grihastha. Typically, especially the grandmother will be very attached to the grandchildren. Natural inclination to help out with the grandchildren. And the grandfather, well, he is being pretty useless. Right? So I don't really know what a grandfather should be good for. He gives birthday presents once in a while. So, but vanaprastha is something else. Vanaprastha means both of them serve Krishna, especially the grandfather who would otherwise be useless. If he serves Krishna, that is the fulfillment of his life. And the grandmother, also she should at least connect her grandmother stayed with the service of Krishna. So there are different stages. And ultimately, everybody at the time of death should be thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, right. So that is actually, this is what life is meant for. If one is married or not, at the end of life, one should worship Krishna. One should be immersed in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, that was about Lord Balaram's marriage. I think we stop here. Are there any questions or comments?
You read that Lord Balaram and he really was in love with her, and she also loved him. So in this situation, you can see from the beginning also Krishna and Rukmini. So the love is there. Because sometimes you explain that people become married and they don't see before. So 2 days, 3 days before, they see the first time and then they start the love in that moment. But in this situation, it is all kind of marriage. You can be married for different, in different situations. Sometimes people really are in love from the beginning. And some people because of other things, because of arrangements. Mm-hmm. And other people, I think, because they are in a bad situation. And a bad situation. That means they are in trouble or they have to be married because that will help them. Uh-huh. So for necessity or whatever. So there is, what I observed is that there's all kind of marriage, different interests sometimes, and you don't be married only because you love somebody. This is one thing, love. So we cannot say all the marriage are supposed to be the same, but there is different kinds. Is what I observed.
One thing that is that this marriage between Revati and Balaram was an arranged marriage. Lord Brahma said they went to Lord Brahma, Graivata or Kukutmi. He went to Lord Brahma with his daughter and asked for a suitable husband. And Lord Brahma said, now when you come, it's Kali Yuga, but Lord Balaram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is performing his pastimes. So please go see Lord Balaram. That was an arranged marriage. On the advice of Lord Brahma.
But from my point of view, this is the best thing, that even if it's a little bit of illusion, this is nice to have some love for the person. Because like you say, after the problems come, so after sometimes the problems come, and if the people, they have a little bit of attraction, then will be very bad for their married life also.
Yeah, that's also true. There is this, even Prabhupada mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, one should love Krishna just as a young boy and a young girl have attraction for each other. But this attraction is there, and it's in other places explained in Bhagavatam that this attraction is there so there can be children, offspring. Because having offspring is so much work. Okay, it's fun to procreate, but then to take care of the offspring is a lot of work. Huh? Right, like this. So this is a trick by Mother Nature. Huh? Come on, here's some sugar. Take that sweet. Okay, took that sweet. Oh, now I'm pregnant. For the woman or the men. Oh, now I have to work hard to maintain my family. Yeah. There's so many aspects to it. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for your class. And you were describing the different stages of marriage, where it appears to be love at first sight, then it's like you're more averse, etc. So you broke it down, and when you were describing this, well, it reminded me of first, I guess, the first thought that came to mind is that in the Brahma Samhita, it describes that this material world is compared to a prison house, Durga. And I'll share a similar verse in the Bhagavatam that, is related to this. It's from the 10th canto, chapter 14, verse 36. And it says, "My dear Lord Krishna, until people become your devotees, their material attachments and desires remain thieves. Their homes remain prisons, and their affectionate feelings for their family members remain foot shackles."
They remain what?
Foot shackles. Foot shackles.
Foot shackles.
Shackles.
Yes,
shackles.
yes. Okay.
And always, when I hear these things, I always think of prison life. Like, I could be wrong, but I never seen anybody who enters a prison and says, "I'm going to really enjoy this."
No. Yeah,
so we see when people enter prison, your main duty is to tolerate. And basically, people in prison train to tolerate.
Yeah.
So we see that the problem that when we come to like my soulmate, you realize is really your cellmate, basically. And so my question is related to the fact that it seems that when we come to devotional life, and it's not really just with marriage, it's just living in a community of devotees, that we feel that everyone is going to be pretty much practically free from Maya, the shackles of Maya. But then we quickly realize that's not true, and then people leave the community, or marriage separates, or friendship separates, and then their whole Christian consciousness goes away. So what to do if people have this enjoying spirit? It seems like that's the most detrimental thing to your Christian consciousness by associating with devotees, is like your primary, oh, this is going to be fun. I left the material world to be peaceful and come to the temple. Then you realize, no, everyone's somewhat. So maybe you could share.
Yeah, this material world is also called Maituna Agraha, or prison house, as you were saying, and the bars are sex life. So this sex life keeps us in this material world. By that also, material life becomes tolerable. This is why people, so much suffering is there in this world, but people go on because there is sex life. If there would not, there is a saying in Bhagavatam also says, what people do, materialists, they work hard during the day, and at night they either sleep or have sex life. So this makes it tolerable. Another example is given of the donkey. The donkey, he works very hard, and the owner, he holds a carrot in front of his nose. The donkey always runs for the carrot. He could also eat grass by the side of the road, but he wants that carrot because the donkey driver, he has conditioned him that way. Also, he's looking forward to having sex with the she-ass at night. But the she-ass, before allowing him, to have sex, she'll kick him with her hind legs, with her hind hoofs. This is explained, this is the example. So in this way, the donkey maintains his life. Hope against hope that he will enjoy life. And so devotees are supposed to be of a different nature. It's called mudha also, mudha, the ass, the ignorant ass. One type of person that does not surrender to Krishna. And especially they are motivated by sex life. And so in this way they remain in Maya. And Maya, the material energy, does a lot to keep us in their clutches. She spoke of the shackles, the boot shackles. And those are, Maya constantly puts us in illusion. And many things that Maya does to keep us under her control. And she's so immensely tricky, many things she does. And this is why Krishna says, Devi esha guna mahi, mamaya maya duratyaya, mam ivaye prapatyante, mayam etam taranti te. Only by Krishna's help can we actually overcome Maya, by surrendering to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We can overcome Maya, because Maya, she is always there also, like Mother Durga. She has her trident, and the trident symbolizes the three types of suffering: Adi-Devik, Adi-Baudik, and Adi-Atmic, the sufferings that we imagine ourselves, especially, say, love sickness and stuff like that, problems in relationship. Then the sufferings caused by other living entities, humans and animals. And then Adi-Devik, that is the suffering caused by superior force like bad weather, car accidents and other things. So this is the Mother Durga's trident. She keeps us in the prison and she pokes us with the trident, and she won't let us go unless we surrender to Krishna. Then she says, okay, Krishna wants me to release this prisoner, so then let's go. And this is why Vedic literature recommends become free from these shackles, from sex life. Brahmachari is recommended. Brahmachari, especially in the beginning of life, one should train celibacy. In the beginning, like anything that you want to learn, if you learn it early in life, you will learn it better. So celibacy should be learned early in life, not that as soon as one has sexual maturity, as one has achieved sexual maturity at the age of 13 or 14, one should practice. No. First thing in life, one should practice celibacy and be a brahmachari at least until age 25. Then one will also be able to be faithful to one's partner. Even during pregnancy, sex life is impossible. Half a year after pregnancy, also sex life is not possible. So even then one should stay faithful to one's partner. And then the other place, then also after the wife has attained a certain age, sex life is impossible, So anyway, one has to learn celibacy, and one should not look for other sources of pleasure. And this should be done early in life. And then also, when one gets older, there's celibacy and then sannyas. So there's a lot of emphasis on celibacy. And some people, very fortunate people, they are able to be celibate their entire life. That is called fortunate. Some people like that. As a grihastha, I'm a grihastha. I don't know whether that really is so good, but some people say celibacy all one's life. That is very good. It is emphasized in Vedic scripture. Detachment from sex life. At least one should Prabhupada said that's why we have this illicit sex. Sex is not allowed if one is married. One can have sex, but the ideal way of employing sex is only for the procreation of children. Now, I don't know, there was some research amongst ISKCON Grihastas. They didn't all live up to the standard. Yeah, right. That's why I say, if you're a Grihasta, it's a struggle. Right? Yeah. Yeah, you also had a question.
The culture that one lives in America is one that has a view that sex life is some sort of pinnacle of, I guess, both enjoyment and some sort of, what would be the word? Because I heard it expressed by an aging theologian recently, something like a kind of spiritual experience. Mm. And it's very odd that view is there, even if a person has actually gone through their time of raising children, and the children are grown up and their grandchildren, but that idea persists. So what would you say would be an excellent way to tackle that idea without disrupting a person's world? Because, persons may be very supposedly civilized and functioning, even teaching others and even teaching theology, but that idea is there. So what would you say is an excellent way to tackle that idea and put it in place, that it's not the appropriate view?
Could you just say one sentence? I didn't really understand your question. What was it?
No. I prefer to try. No, the question was, what is a good way to delicately dismantle the idea that even elderly persons in American society may hold, that sex life is some kind of almost spirituality, an intimacy, an advanced moment of union, that there's a spiritual component to it, because that idea seems to be there.
Okay. Yeah, we observe that even when people are old, they still want to have some type of sex life. But that is a very deep illusion. It's because they don't have a higher taste. Bhagavad Gita says, Vishaya nivartate niraharasya dehinam param drishtva nivartate. The living entity may be restrained from sense enjoyment, but the mind will still stay contemplating the sense objects. Such desires can be given up by param drishtva nivartate, by experiencing a higher taste. So, even as you said, in old age, one is restrained from sex enjoyment. Obviously, it is physically not as good. It has diminished the capacity to enjoy, or even just gone away. Still, one is attached to sense enjoyment, and one figures all kinds of alternative methods to have some type of illusory sex enjoyment. But this will all stop. Raso vajam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. By experiencing a higher taste. There are two types of taste. There's this taste, material taste is rasa. Rasa means taste. And then there is the spiritual taste, which is also called rasa. The rasas, 5 predominant rasas. So, raso vajam rasopyasya param dristvati nivartate. By experiencing a higher taste, one will param drishtva, one will become advanced in consciousness. So this higher taste must be there. The mind has to be focused on Krishna, not on how will I still continue enjoying my senses, although the body is losing its capacities, not figuring out how will sense enjoyment still be possible. But one should fix the mind on Krishna, and in this way experience a higher taste. Then all these such illusory concepts, they will just dwindle. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It makes sense. Krishna Chana, yeah, makes sense. So fix the mind on Krishna. All right. Hari Bol, Hari Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Buddhalisha Mari Bhaktivinoda Swami Namaste Sarasvati Devan Gauravan Prasanya Visesa Sanyavada Pasya.